Allama Iqbal's words, yeah, still very popular, still resonate with people in a way that you cannot believe. Uh, may we take inspiration from such words which are so laden with meaning. So our question for this morning: WhatsApp is a very common way in which we communicate nowadays. Do you read all your messages on all groups, or are there some groups that you just skip? Do you consider it rude not to read messages in certain groups? What do you do then? Are you one of those people who say, well, you know what, I'll only be part of a group if I'm going to be able to read what's posted on the group, and if what is posted on the group is of relevance to me? Otherwise, no offense, but I don't want to be part of the group. Sometimes you may not have too much of a choice. What if it's a family group? I tell you, I mean, we have a family group, and sometimes they're busy teasing each other and needling each other, which is good, which is fine. It's good for, for keeping that jovial spirit within family ranks. But then if I don't have the time, I don't read it. Sometimes, as a result, I end up missing some important things in between, and they tell me, "Haven't you seen the group?" My sister shouts me, "Haven't you seen the group?" I say, "You people were chatting, for half a day there. I couldn't go through all the messages. I simply didn't have the time." Now that group, I don't have the option of exiting. That's an immediate family group. You may have a class group, your matric class, or your university class, or in our case, our class, our Darulum class. We have a group. You may have work related groups. The company may have a group, the department may have a group. You may have a group for a certain project. Now, some admins are very strict. They say only what it is meant for and nothing else. Others are a bit lenient, so people post jokes and Juma Mubarak messages, or they start, again, needling each other and making light-hearted comments. So there are some groups you can't get out of. Then there are other groups you could, broader community groups, spiritual groups, advertising groups, those kind of things. Some people, I get a sense, they just want to be part of as many groups as they possibly can. And then they just put it one side, just as long as I'm part of it. Others, they're very, very focused, and they just exit from many groups. They only stick to the groups where they know they're going to be able to read most of the time. What's your strategy? What's your thoughts? It's a very important medium of communication nowadays, WhatsApp. Do you read all your messages on all your groups, or are there some groups that you just give a skip? And do you consider this rude if somebody else doesn't read, or do you consider it not rude if you yourself don't do? How do you manage this? WhatsApp has come up with the archive feature. I can tell you, I put a number of groups in archive. Now, you see, I've also exited many groups. I think it was last year or the year before. I just had enough. And then I kind of looked at it and said, which of the groups where there is beneficial content from time to time, I'll stay there. The others I need to move off. I honestly, I'm talking about myself. I don't have the time to read every message in every group. But then again, the nature of the work that I do means that, there's some media groups, there's some political groups, there are some community groups, then there would be ulama chats, then the organizations that you are involved in, different departments, and you may be involved in more than one. So there are certain chats whenever there's something posted, because it's really work related or family related. I would look at that immediately. The other groups, when I have a chance, or if somebody alerts me there's a good discussion going on there, then I have a look. So that second category of groups, I've put it into archive, and I honestly don't feel guilty about it. I need to be there from time to time. Maybe I need to communicate something. Occasionally, maybe there's something I need to look at, but I can't be there active all the time. So that archive feature works fantastic for me. It doesn't pop up all the time on your main feed, dropping important messages down. But what works for you? I mean, how do you kind of aggregate, and how do you kind of manage WhatsApp communication? Nowadays, people just love to spam. And if you have one person who's with you on multiple groups, you're going to see the same message being posted on multiple groups. I don't know if WhatsApp can come up with a feature like that now, that if you see a particular message on one group, then automatically it should eliminate it from other groups, whether it's posted by the same person or posted by another person, because you've seen it. You don't need to see it over and over again. That's the question we're asking this morning. WhatsApp being a very common way in which we communicate, do you read all your messages on all your groups, or are there some groups that you just skip? And is it rude to do this? You can WhatsApp us on 072 786 1548. Coming up in a bit, our hadith discussion from Riyadh al-Salihin. We start a new chapter, inshallah. We then do the media lens with Ibrahim Deen. After 7:30, Maulana Wajah comes with his words. At 7:45, Robert Darvel talks to us about how farmers feel, in terms of the current climate in South Africa. What are their frustrations? In the next hour, we are due to be joined in studio by Nhlanhla Lux Dlamini. He shot to prominence when he was part of Operation Dudula, and he was even arrested. He subsequently distanced himself from Operation Dudula. He's now with the Soweto Parliament. He's coming in studio. He's got strong views with regards undocumented immigrants or foreigners, and he's got strong views about things in South Africa. So we talk to him about it. You may not necessarily agree with everything that he says, but that's what it's all about, listening to what others have got to say. We'll also, towards the end of the program, continuing this theme, because the xenophobia issue is such a big thing. We want to drill down to some of the specifics. That's why yesterday we spoke to the former health minister of Zimbabwe. Today we're going to be talking specifically about how Zimbabweans move between South Africa and Zimbabwe to access healthcare at the border. Research has been done, and we speak to the author, Vinayak Bardwaj. He penned something for the conversation, and we try and get a bit of an understanding in that regard, inshallah. So that's coming up closer to the end of the program. We'll also continue our discussion on spring. Yesterday we spoke about the different ways, the 3 different ways as to how you calculate the commencement of spring. Today we'll talk about the signs of spring and the kind of weather that you will experience in spring in various parts of the world. So that's what you can look forward to between now and 9 o'clock. It's almost 7:15, time for this morning's hadith.
Hadith discussions on Sabahul Muslim with Maulana Sulaimaan Ravat.
So yesterday we concluded chapter 30, Babu Shafa'ah, the chapter on intercession. Today we commence with chapter 31, Babul Islahi Bain al-Nas, the chapter on restoring harmony between people. There are a number of ayat which Imam Nawawi brings in the beginning of this chapter. The one is from Surah Nisa 114, verse 114. لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلا من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس. There is no good in most of their deliberations except in him who commands charity, good deeds, or reconciliation between people. That ties up with the chapter. Then there's a verse of Surah Nisa 128, وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ, when Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, and reconciliation is best. Surah Anfal, the first verse, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. So fear Allah and reconcile between yourselves. And then Surah Hujurat, verse 10, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. The believers are brothers, so reconcile between your brothers. Muslims ought to have a strong sense of unity in order to prosper. Division eats away. Infighting breeds nothing but evil. Therefore, it is in all of our interest to reconcile the difference between individuals within our ranks, between fellow Muslims. We sometimes can say, well, what's it got to do with me? It's their problem. I don't want to get involved. If you're getting involved, it's going to make it worse. Yeah, sure. But where you can make a difference, you should try and make a difference, because everyone's prosperity is tied on or hinged on there being minimal infighting and dissension within the broader ranks of the Muslims. The first hadith now that Imam Nawawi brings in this chapter on reconciling between people, it's hadith number 4, and 248. Hadith number 248. And Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كل السلامة من الناس عليه صدقة كل يوم تطلع فيه الشمس تعدل بين الاثنين صدقة وتعين الرجل في دابته فتحمله عليها أو ترفع له عليها متاعه صدقة والكلمة الطيبة صدقة وبكل خطوة تمشيها إلى الصلاة صدقة وتميت الأذى عن الطريق صدقة. متفق عليه. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, charity is due on behalf of every joint of a person every day the sun rises. Reconciling two people by establishing justice between them is charity. Helping a man to mount his camel or to load his goods onto it is charity. A good word is charity. Every step that one takes to salah is charity. And removing a harmful object from the path is charity. So we have to be expressing gratitude via charity for the 300 joints of our body. But this is going to be very difficult. Even if you were to give a rand for every joint, 300 rands every day, how many would be able to manage that? So Allah has broadened the scope of charity. If you reconcile between two people, and this ties up with our chapter, you get the reward of charity. If you help someone into his conveyance, load the goods, offload the goods, it's charity. A good word, meaning salam, speaking good of people, saying that which will bring joy to them, which unifies their heart, that is charity. And every step to the masjid is charity. Here the ulama say that it's not only a step to the masjid, but any step towards good work. So you're going out to seek knowledge, you're going to madrasa, you're going out to establish family ties, you're visiting a fellow Muslim, going to a janazah, visiting a sick person. All of that, for every step that you take, you get the reward of charity. Removing a harmful object, it is charity. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has given us these various options through which to earn the reward of charity and exercise that responsibility of giving charity on behalf of every joint in our body. There are three categories, right? One is you fulfill that which is obligatory and abstain from that which is haram. The other is you do nafil, like dhikrullah. And the third is you assist others. All of that results in charity and results in the discharging of such obligations. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala grant us the ability to maintain harmonious and peaceful environments wherever we may be. After the break, it is the Media Lens with Ibrahim Deen.
This is Sabahul Muslim